Hello, welcome back. Linda Heffernan here, behavioral scientist, executive leadership coach, and cognitive behavioral hypnotherapist. So, welcome back to the A Kaizen Mind book club, the book club that I have created just to give value, to give resources to you, all of my clients who often ask me about books, and I've started curating a library for you. The best books that I have read that I recommend. I may bring in one or two books that I don't, which are popular, but there we go. So today, our book club, we're looking at a new book. Last book club, we looked at The Chimp Paradox by Professor Steve Peters, understanding how your emotional brain can hijack rational thinking. Today, a super book, Grit by Angela Duckworth, Professor Angela Duckworth. And she talks about why passion and perseverance are the secrets to success. This book is one of my primary recommendations as a read, particularly for younger adult clients in education, but honestly, it's applicable to us all. So, in this book, Duckworth challenges our cultural obsession with IQ and shows that character and perseverance are what truly set you apart. So, the core concept of this book, Grit by Angela Duckworth, is that success isn't about talent or intelligence, it's about grit. What is grit, Linda? Okay, so grit is a combination of passion and perseverance for long term goals. And I've been told I'm quite gritty. Duckworth's research shows that grittier people consistently outperform more naturally than talented people. The book draws on studies of West Point military cadets. It draws on studies of National Spelling Bee finalists, which, if you have any understanding of American education culture, it's a very important spelling competition in primary and I think lower secondary schools. It draws upon teachers in challenging schools, Olympic athletes, and business leaders, you. So Duckworth identifies four psychological assets that build grit. So the first one, interest, a genuine passion for what you do. Practice, it's deliberate, it's daily discipline. Purpose, connection to something larger than yourself. And hope, resilience when facing setbacks. It was originally written with education in mind, but the principles apply to leadership, to business, to sport, and life, just the way I like books. The message of this book, talent is overrated. Effort counts twice, once to build skill and again to make that skill productive. So, what's the science here and why does it matter? So let me first talk about Angela Duckworth's credentials. She is Professor of Psychology at University of Pennsylvania. She's a MacArthur Fellow, also known as the Genius Grant, ironically awarded for work showing genius isn't what matters. Quite ironic. She has a BA in neurobiology from Harvard, an MSc in neuroscience from Oxford, and a PhD in psychology from UPenn. Before becoming a researcher, she was a management consultant at McKinsey, and I know that is, very relevant to many of you. Then she became a maths teacher. That's where she noticed talented students often underperformed while hardworking students excelled. She founded the Character Lab, a non-profit advancing the science of character development. And the research bit that really is fascinating to me is that Duckworth developed the grit scale, and she tested it across multiple domains. Her studies show grit accounts for significant variance in success outcomes, educational attainment, job performance, retention at West Point, and spelling bee success. Crucially, grit is unrelated to IQ, but closely related to conscientiousness. Okay? And like most of my work, the grit is connected to growth mindset. So do you remember Carol Dweck's work that we already reviewed? I think it was review 2. Growth mindset is the foundation for grit. You can't develop grit with a fixed mindset. If you believe talent is innate and can't be developed, well, you'll give up when things get hard. But if you believe abilities can be developed through effort, growth mindset, then you have the psychological foundation to persist. Grit is growth mindset in action over time. It's what happens when you apply that belief system to long-term goals. Duckworth and Dweck's research complement each other. Dweck shows you why to persist, if you like, because you can grow. And Duckworth shows you how to persist through passion and deliberate practice. So for my executives and leaders, we live in a culture that worships natural talent and instant results. But sustained success comes from passionate persistence over years, not innate ability. Duckworth research from business shows that grittier leaders build more sustainable organizations. Her work with athletes demonstrates that grit predicts performance better than physical talent. The growth here is understanding that success comes from sustained effort, not innate genius. Fundamentally changes how you approach challenges. Okay, that understanding is vital. How you approach setbacks and your own development. Now, I'm not anti-talent. I love talent. I love a bit of genius. What I'm agreeing with here with Duckworth, from what I have seen working with many, many people, genius doesn't always translate to success, to social skills, to EQ, emotional intelligence. So, what works in this book? Well, for me, the book, let's have a look again, Grit by Angela Duckworth. It demolishes the myth of natural talent in a way that's liberating. Duckworth's personal story is compelling. Her father constantly told her she wasn't a genius, and she proved that didn't matter. Research is rigorous and spans multiple domains: education, military, business, and sport. So her research is vitally important here. There are 4 psychological assets: interest, practice, purpose, and hope. And this gives you a practical framework, and you know I love frameworks. There is an emphasis here on deliberate practice, not just working hard, but working smart on specific improvements, my Kaizen approach. Check out the video on that. The book is particularly valuable for anyone working with young people, students, children, interns, emerging leaders, entry-level positions that you are working on developing. It's accessible writing that respects research without drowning you in academic jargon, and I love that. There are real stories, which is also very important, and these real stories illustrate the concepts: West Point cadets, spelling bee champions, teachers in tough schools. So, some honest positioning on this. This is a solid psychological research. I mean, Duckworth is a MacArthur Fellow, folks, with rigorous academic credentials. Like Dweck's work, it's qualitative research based on observations and studies across diverse populations, and like Dweck, balanced with quantitative research also. The grit scale has been tested extensively and shown to predict outcomes. Some critics argue grit is too similar to conscientiousness, and Duckworth acknowledges they're related but not identical. And if you're a Hogan-trained assessor like I am, you will absolutely agree with that. There's also valid critique that focusing on grit can ignore structural barriers. It's not that one matters more than the other. I agree, both environment and character matter. The book is more nuanced than the pop culture version of just work harder, just do it, okay? It's accessible psychology written for a mainstream audience. She bridges research and practical application brilliantly. An important note also, like all of the books I recommend, this is grounded in behavioural science from research and qualitative observations from business and sport. I try to do that for, I think, all of my books. There may be one or two exceptions. Bottom line, my friends, should you read it? Absolutely, if you're in education, coaching, or developing talent. If you want to understand what actually predicts long-term success. If you're tired of the cultural obsession with innate talent and IQ. If you want practical strategies for building perseverance. And if you work with young people or young adults and want to instill the right mindset. My take on this book? It fundamentally changed how I coach. Combined with Dweck's mindset, you have a complete framework. Growth mindset gives you the belief that you can develop abilities. Grit gives you the sustained effort to actually do it. Peter's chimp paradox helps you manage the emotional hacking that derails your effort. And now Duckworth shows you why that sustained effort matters more than talent ever will. These books build on each other, each one adding another layer to understanding high performance. If you only read books that challenge conventional wisdom about success, read this one, okay? So that's it. That's my book club review of Grit. Next time, folks, Adam Grant, Hidden Potential, the Science of Achieving Great Things. How we can all achieve greater things than we think possible. A great read. Let me just actually give you one or two quotes from this. Mark Cuban, Shark Tank investor and owner of the Dallas Mavericks and co-founder of Cost Plus Drugs. I think most people will know of him in the business world. This is a book that should be read by parents, leaders, coaches, and every school board member in America. I would say everywhere. Adam Grant reveals that everything you think about developing potential is wrong. Serena Williams, this brilliant book will shatter your assumptions about what it takes to improve and succeed. I wish I could go back in time and gift it to my younger self. It would have helped me find a more joyful path to progress. Malcolm Gladwell. I love Malcolm. I read Hidden Potential in one sitting, loved it, and have been thinking about it ever since, which is the highest praise I can give a book. This is Adam Grant's finest work. It will inspire you to bigger dreams. I will be reviewing other books by Adam Grant because he's a brilliant behavioural scientist, psychological observer, and asset to how we work, to how we live, to how we lead. Okay, so if you are finding in these reviews some value that is helpful, please subscribe. I'm building your curated library one book at a time. Until then, Remember, talent is overrated. Grit is what counts. Thank you for paying attention to your growth mindset, and see you next time. In the meantime, look after yourself.